check valve that goes on the effluent side of the pump, another control valve on the effluent side of the pump, and then the pipe drops down into the ground and connects to the existing system where you've got that item number 1. In that location, there's a flange underneath the ground that this connects to. So the contractor will be digging that area up next to the existing pump and uncovering the 2 T's, taking the blind flanges off, connecting all that up. And right now, we're just from a construction perspective on that piece, we are awaiting submittals. The contractor has to submit the specifications on the materials that they're using, how it's being put together, who they're buying it from, what the coatings are, all of those types of things that are required in the specifications manual. There's another written manual that goes along with it. This is what the contractor has to submit, and then the engineer reviews it, basically to make sure that it meets the requirements before they put it in. Okay, and again, that's to make sure that we get the longest life out of anything we put in the ground. The next page, on page 5, the drawing is a little bit weak. That's half of the surge tank that's out there. I wanted it all to fit on one drawing. But right now, you can see the piping on the right side, existing HDPE pipe connection that goes from the float. There's an existing concrete block, which is that rectangular section. And right now it goes directly into the tank. So in other words, when the float pumps come on, they pump right into the tank. And then the booster pumps, you can see where it says existing surge tank. That line coming out is what feeds the suction side of those pumps, the booster pumps, okay? So what this shows is that right now that pipe with an elbow that connects where it comes into the tank and where it goes out of the tank does not exist. But there was a T put in on the booster pump side to allow for this in the future. And the reason that this was necessary is because when the lake is at a certain elevation, it's much less expensive and much more efficient on the float pumps to pump directly from the float pump barge through a bypass around the surge tank, so it doesn't fill, doesn't have to push against the head of that surge tank, and doesn't have to go through the booster pumps to get to the treatment plant. Those pumps, the float pumps, will efficiently push it all the way to the treatment plant over a range of elevations that we will see in the future. And so it was simply just a matter of this short pipe section and replacing a check valve to a different type. And there'll be a T that goes down in the ground. This pipe section comes around underground and connects in with a valve. And basically, to operate it, we'll be shutting the valve that goes into the tank. After we open the valve that bypasses the booster pumps, and then we'll close the tank valve and we'll close the valve going to the booster pump. So it'll basically go around the tank and around the booster pumps and right out into the system. So that's why it was a double approach. Originally it was just going to be the booster pump, but then we added the bypass to it. So I think that pretty much covers. And then lastly, this the 2-page sheet that you got is our first reimbursement request to the Department of Water Resources for the IRWINT program. We have 4 projects. Project 1 is what's considered administrative. Project 2 is the groundwater wells. Project 3 is the Regional Water Conservation Program. And Project 4 is the service line replacement project. So We are requesting reimbursement for the engineering work and the grant application work that went into preparing the application back in 2015 and 2016 that was done by Kennedy Jenks, and then the purchase of the signs and a couple other administrative costs that went into project one. And then if you move from the cover sheet to this next page, this is where it details what those invoices were that we're requesting reimbursement on. And I realize this is really small writing. I just printed it and didn't look back at it. But again, we've got the administrative expenses are the Kennedy Jenks invoices for preparation of the grant application and then the sign store. And then task 4, which is project 4, the $83,000 there is some planning money that we spent on Binkley to do the evaluation of the master meter project and get that ready to build with this money. And then also the service line repairs or replacements that Neerich has done for a portion of the time that they've been doing this work. We did not go back and get reimbursement for every single invoice that they did. Some of their invoices had multiple different projects on it, and we probably could have gone back to all of those, but those were expensed as service line replacements from years gone past. We basically billed all of the 2016 invoices that we could to the program, and then also we have a couple invoices from 2017, but those will be on the next reimbursement request. So we should be, this has been approved by them for submittal. It's been mailed with a wet signature as of yesterday, and it will probably be anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks to get a check. Could be less.
Is that the end of your, I guess,
Yes.
quick question on well 1, is it done running? Is that
No.
finished?
It is not. No, we're waiting on the meter specification and the piping drawing. We're going to redo the piping a little bit on it.
On item 4, I'd like to talk about that next month. Well, I'd like to bet at that meeting, one of the reasons I think we wanted the guy here is to see if his head spins around like Jerry Mahoney and rolls his eyes and he asks him a question. It would have been nice to see that. So if the rest of the board is willing to talk about item 4 in more detail, I'd like to talk about it. You said he said it had to be by consensus.
Russ, are you willing to talk about item 4, which is the board members who met with the accountant? You want to go further with the discussion? Jim?
Oh, that's it. It's dead right there. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think some of these are good ideas, and I mean, especially it says consider some of these things in the future. I think it's definitely.
No, the question on the table is, would you be open to discussing this a little bit more? On
item 4.
Item 4,
which is the consideration of the items that are listed.
And I think everyone says about the board members who met with the accountant. He wants to discuss that.
And the items and all the items and all this stuff.
Yeah. I would definitely be interested in that, especially the items.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm interested, but Dan was the principal and he's not here.
We can just, I was there. I can share what we learned very easily. So, since you brought up, we have a consensus, have a little dialogue on it.
No, can't do it till next month.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking. It'll be on next month.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
It's much like a committee, so it'd be good to have kind of a reporting out as to what was discussed.
Okay. All right. Anything else for Pete on his report? Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Item number 3 on your report, it seems like a pretty simple thing to me. I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, but if Aqua Sierra did the testing and they neglected to send the findings, that seems like a pretty easy fix. Am I wrong in
You
the
think so?
government bureaucracy of it all? It's not. So we did do the testing.